in today's lesson, what we're going to learn how to do is to run a few simple Python commands in our Python interpreter. So first thing we're going to do is open up our Python interpreter by typing Python into our command line, either your terminal if you're using OS X, or the command prompt in Windows, or a terminal in Linux. We're going to type Python. Some of you might type Python. I'm actually going to type Python 3 because I also have Python 2 installed and I want to make sure I'm running Python 3. So that will depend on your personal computer. And now I'm in the interpreter and ready to go. I'm going to actually close this one because I had one set up already behind me. So in the classroom, I have a file put up that has all of this text for you to copy and paste, just as I will do, so you don't need to worry about trying to follow along so much as understanding what I'm doing, pausing, trying it yourself by copying and pasting, and then moving on to the next one. I'll also paste this in the YouTube comments. So the first set of things we're going to do in Python is import our libraries. That's what these are. These are the libraries that we installed with our pip install, or they rely on those libraries. You'll recommend this mcpi, or you'll recognize this mcpi bit right here. And those are functions and classes and things like that that people have already written that do some of the hard stuff, so that you don't need to do that in order to jump in and start doing things. Libraries aren't just to make things easier for you, they're to make things more consistent, and so that everyone isn't constantly rewriting code from scratch. So we're going to copy these over to our Python. We're just going to hit paste, and either they'll run or they won't. If you get a whole pile of errors here saying that the module wasn't found or various things like that, that means that you are either running Python 2 and you should be running Python 3, or you did not run the pip install properly, or you did not run it on the account that you're currently active in. So you'll want to check those things. So those are my libraries. I only need to do that once at the beginning of each time I have opened up my Python interpreter, or at the top of any file that I'm using them in. Next, this is how I communicate with my server. This is using that library again. So I'm doing mc.minecraft.create. This is going to be my server name. In the classroom docs, this will be an actual string that is our server name. And then this is the port you're communicating over, and this is the standard port that RaspberryJuice uses to communicate over. So we will copy this over. Now, if you are just using your own server on your own personal computer, you can use everything between these two parentheses. You can leave that blank. It will use your default setup. So I'm going to hit enter. We shouldn't see any errors with this. If there are any errors with this, this is going to be a firewall problem that you probably need to talk to your folks about. You can go ahead and send me the error and I can help you debug it. But it is more likely to be your computer not appropriately communicating with the outside world. Okay, and then this is where things get interesting. I'm going to use this myID. That's a variable I created, equals Minecraft MC. That is this class we just created up here, or class instance we created. And then I'm going to do getPlayerEntityId. And then in here is going to be my personal username. And this is going to get the ID of my character on Minecraft. So I don't think I actually copied that. Copy that, come over here and paste it. And I'll hit enter and it's going to tell me that didn't work. And that's because I didn't replace this with my name. And now it works. I can type my ID and I get an ID for my character for this instance of Minecraft. If I were to close Minecraft and open it back up and run this same thing again, I would get a different ID. So it's really important that you don't hard code this number. This number just is what it is right now in this moment of you playing Minecraft. It'll change. So that's why we created the variable myID instead of just grabbing that number. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my position. And I'm again using myID to do that. So I'll get my position. And it's going to tell me I'm at roughly -1,000, +24, -1,000. This is X, Y, Z, and is related to if you were to get your spawn point or anything over here, or you're showing your coordinates up here at the top screen. So X and Z are your left and right and forward and backwards, and as you rotate yourself, those change. This middle coordinate Y is where you are up and down in the sky. And then next, I'm finally going to do some interesting things, and I'm going to set my position. Now, I chose some coordinates far away from spawn, simply because we're all going to be playing in this world making messes, and I'd like that to happen not at the spawn point. So I'm going to change these up, and you should too, because again, we don't want them to happen all at the same place making messes as we're playing around trying things. So I set my position, and as you see over here, my guy moved. I'm now in a different position than I just was. I cannot set direction or get direction, so I don't know which direction I'm posting in. That's a problem with the library. It might even be a problem with the original Minecraft API, so that it's just not able to be gotten. You can determine direction over time by comparing current coordinates and past coordinates. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create some blocks. So I want to create a block directly where I am, which means again I'm going to change these thousands. I'm going to change them to -2,000. But before I hit enter, I'm going to go back to game over here so I'm not paused. And I'll tab into that window and I'll hit enter. And you'll see I just got pushed around. That's because I have a block of dirt that got pushed right underneath me. And so now we have a block of dirt that we created floating in the middle of the air. Let's look at how we did that. I put its position just like I put my position in, and then I just did block.DIRT.id. So I sent it the ID for a block of dirt, and it placed a block of dirt there. Now, if I want to get rid of that block of dirt, I'm going to replace this dirt with air. Now, I can't just make up any word that I want to right here. I can't say blue. It's not going to work. I can't come in here and say dirt, all lowercase. It's not going to work. The where I got those dirt and air and values from is there is a file in our class directory that has all of this information, and you can use any of these things, but you can make some guesses like water and sand, gold, but you know, if it's got a space, it's going to be gold underscore or whatever makes sense to you. These also have values, so I don't need to just do block.dirt. I can do block of wool, and then I can pass on a data value for the color that I want the wool to be. So let's do that now. I can hit up over here, change what I have. I'm going to do wool, and then I place the data value on the end here, and we'll do 7. I don't know what color that's going to be because I didn't look. And now we have a dark gray block of wool, exactly where our dirt used to be. So if I change that to 3, 3. I have a cyan, I think that is, block of wool right where the other one used to be. So that's a useful kind of feature too. Now, I don't just have to use coordinates like this. I can actually send it my position. So this time I'm going to go up. I'm going to get rid of these 3 values, and instead I'm going to send the vector that is where I am. And that is mc.entity.getPosition myID. I'm going to copy that and paste it here. And now I just put a cyan block of wool right where I was, and then I got pushed away from it. So we don't have to hard code our coordinates there. And that's really important, because if we're going to do a large project, we want to be able to have it be flexible. We want to maybe do it where we are and not have to do it at a specific spawn point or anything like that. So I can also, if I don't want to keep doing things right where I am, because that's a little bit weird to have to keep getting shoved away, and I, for instance, want to do them right below me, I have the ability to do that as well. We're going to do that by, there we go. So I've done this already. We're going to do that by setting the block position to my position minus another vector. And this vector follows the same thing, x, y, z. So this will set the block down right beside me. This one should set the block down below me. And this one should set the block down beside me in a perpendicular direction as this one did. I don't know exactly where they'll face because it depends on where I'm facing. But if we go ahead, and then that's my block position, and I'm just using block position right here. So we're going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to paste it, and I set my block position, and now I'm going to set block. This one's going to be a different color, which means we'll be able to tell where it is. And as we see, it got set down right next to me. The next one I do, I'll have the vector be, I'll change it by 1 on the y-axis, and that should place the block right under me. Again, that one's more predictable because it's up and down rather than on the plane of the world. And so if I come back over here, oops, I just destroyed that block. If I come back, I'm going to go back over here and actually set the block. There we go. If I come back over here, I now have a block directly underneath me. One more. I'll change it in the X direction. And I'll place one next to me again. So I can actually do more than that. I can change all of these at once. I can say I want it to be 2, 2, 2. And I can do that. This time I'm going to change the block's color so that I know which one I placed just now. And now if we come over here, we should find a block right there that was 2 apart from me in all directions. So that's kind of fun. We can do some kind of silly things like this. So I can do 4, let's see. I always forget my 4 syntax, so just give me a second here. And we'll see if this works. 4 I equals 1 to 10. For I, and I'll just do this. In 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a better 4 syntax, I just didn't prep for this particular part. There we go. I'm going to set my block position I've got to indent this to the vector. I'm going to change it by I. So one of them is going to be 1, 1, 1 away from me, 2, 2, 2, and so forth. And then I'm going to set the actual block in place. I'm just spacing that in so that it's indented in that for loop and it knows it's part of the for loop. And I'm going to be silly here and also say I want it to be the color I. So they'll all change colors. And it's just a kind of a silly little thing to do. See if that runs. Okay, so get back over here. We should have a stair step of rainbow-ish blocks going down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, each on the corner of the other because we each moved them by 1, 1, 1, 1. And I could do this as long as the amount I want to change the blocks by is also the same as possible data values. So that's a little bit wonky, but you can play with things like that in the for loops. Okay, there's one more thing we want to discuss that's kind of fun, and that is you can post to the chat. So you just do the Minecraft post to chat. Remember that case matters here. And I have your name here because I'd like you to put who you are that's posting to chat so it doesn't get spammy and confusing. And you'll see that that appeared over here in my chat. Hello, Minecraft world. Okay. You can also get chat messages. So if we come back over here, we can pull the chat posts. And what this does is it gets every chat post since the last time you ran this command. And then we can run this little for loop that says for chat event in all of the events that we just got. Print the individual event, because what this gives you back is an array, and this will give you back the individual values. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this whole combo over into our interpreter. Hit enter, and it did nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm going to hit chat events to see what that gives, and see it just gives an empty array. And that is because we didn't have any actual chat events. It doesn't count the things that we post via Python as chat events. So in order to get something to fill this up, I need to be over here typing some things. So, so I filled that up a little bit. I come back over to the interpreter and I run this whole setup again. I have to enter a second time to tell it I'm done with the for loop. And look, it gives us some chat events. It says it was a chat event that was a post. I believe, but I haven't been able to check as a single player, that it'll tell you any of the types of things that happen over here, but I'm not certain. It tells you what my player ID is, and it tells you the text that I wrote. And I have 2 of those. Now, if I run that whole sequence again, I'm not going to get anything because it only gives me new chat events. It doesn't give me old ones. And as you can see, it also doesn't give me a timestamp, so I can't really know when those were put in place. But an interesting thing I can do long term with it is do something like search over here, wait for me to type in create circle over in a chat event, and when it sees that I've typed create circle, then it'll trigger a function to run. So there's some interesting things that we can do by being able to pull the chats. We can do silly things like every time Joe says hi, we can drop a chicken out of the air. And we'll play a little bit more with that another time, but I just wanted to let you see that you could do some various things. And that is all for this video. We can do some more complex things, but what I really want you to do first is play. Okay, go see what kind of silly things you can do. Can you create kind of a house using only your Python interpreter? Can you decorate some areas? Can you mine, replacing the blocks with air? What can you do with this? And I want you to get really comfortable with this, because if you don't understand kind of what's going on here today, you're not going to really understand when we do some more complex things going forward. So I will be posting probably another video before class that does do a few more complex things, but again, I want to make sure that you're real comfortable with what we've posted today before you move on to that video.